Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. Club. I'm just down here at the steps at Circular Quay. The steps are actually called the Commissioner's Steps, and this is where the water taxis normally come into. So what I thought I'd do today is just use this as my little vantage point for today's 5 a.m. Club. It's lunchtime, it's Wednesday. I thought it was Thursday. In this morning's vlog I was talking about Thursday, so sorry for the confusion, but today is actually Wednesday, middle of the week. It's nice and overcast, no wind blowing, not too hot, not too cold, and a perfect day for work, so to speak. So I'm not missing out on anything. What I thought I'd do is just kick off with another book summary, and another interesting book summary. So while we've got recurring themes coming through Jim's 5 a.m. Club, my goal is to get through as many books and as many book summaries as possible on as many different themes as we can. But from time to time we will be rehashing a lot of the themes that we've been over before. But regardless of whether or not we've been over it before, each author has a different way of expressing their knowledge and their material, and it all helps to allow us to gain a holistic picture of some topics which are very, very important and key to enabling us to grow and develop and be the best possible versions that we can be. So without further ado, I'll kick off with this book summary. It's entitled You Are Not Your Brain. You Are Not Your Brain. And it's written by Jeffrey Schwartz. And it's basically another book in terms of understanding how the brain works and how our habits works. And it's basically going to give us a deeper understanding on the science behind bad habits and teach us how to break them. It's going to delve into the science of neuroplasticity, so how the brain works and how the brain's wired, and how with that knowledge you can refigure or reconfigure the brain, the way your brain operates, to enable you to make good habits stronger, and to make bad habits weaker, and eliminating them and replacing them with other habits. So the first point that the author kicks off with in this wonderful book is the following: to change your habits, we're encouraged to use self-directed neuroplasticity. And it's basically learning how to change the pathways in our brains so that we can change the habits that we have. And as I mentioned before, we can make good habits stronger, and we can make bad habits weaker, and almost eliminate them where possible, and swap them out with other more habits which are more serving and are more appropriate for where we are in our lives and what we want to achieve. Because the author says that just because your brain is wired in a certain way, and it gets wired over the many, many years, both directly and indirectly, we inherit a lot of things creep into our lives via the media, via television, via our friends, via our parents. But just because our brain has been wired in a certain way doesn't mean that that wiring is permanent. So this is a very powerful notion. So regardless of what you're currently doing, or regardless of what you've been doing over your life, if it's not serving you, then you've got to understand that it's not permanent. You can change it at any time, because the wiring of your brain doesn't permanently define you, because you can change that wiring, and you can change the way you think and change the way you act, and change the outcomes and the way you live your life. So not only can you change the wiring, but this whole concept of neuroplasticity, the science behind neuroplasticity, also suggests that you can actually change the physical structure of your brain, which is a powerful concept, a powerful thing to know. And it's something which is not only powerful, but it's also empowering, because you can use it to your benefit. And years ago, don't know if you remember Christopher Reeve, who was the Superman who broke his neck in I think it was a riding accident. But he actually showed and proved to all of us that with the right will, with the right medical science, with the right support, you can actually change the wiring and the structure of your brain and do things that were never thought possible in the past. So the second point that the author makes in this wonderful book is that he talks about a thing called Hebb's law and the quantum zero effect. Sounds pretty special. Let's try and find out what it all means. Basically what Hebb's law is a scientific sort of understanding that the neurons that fire together stay together. So basically it's use it or lose it. Hebb's law suggests and tells us that the more often a neural pathway is used and the more emotion that you use when you're using that neural pathway, in other words, when you're doing something repetitively and you're doing it with passion and with purpose, then the stronger that pathway gets. So just using a road analogy, it could start off as a laneway, then build to an avenue, then a street, then a road, then a highway, and a super highway, and then you can also turn it into an autobahn where it becomes so strong and so ingrained that it becomes an automatic way of thinking and an automatic process. The quantum zero effect is based on the ancient Greek philosopher Zeno and the paradox called Zeno's arrow paradox. So once again, I don't understand that paradox all that well, so I won't pretend to try and make anything up, but I will look a little bit further and a little bit deeper into it. But the author says that that you can rewire your brain to swap out bad habits and replace it with good habits, and you can consciously change your thoughts. You can change the structure of the brain, you can change your behavior, you can change everything by consciously doing it. And if you consciously do it over and over again, then before you know it, it will become an automatic habit, an automatic behavior, and it will then move from your conscious to your subconscious. So you need no effort whatsoever to be able to do it. It will happen automatically. And the last point in the book here is basically, what do you need to do, the 4 steps you need to take to break a habit. So the first point is realization. You need to be aware of the negative thoughts as and when they occur. And to do that, you basically need to journal your thought patterns throughout a day, over maybe a week or 2, and identify the recurring habits that you have, and then label them yourself as whether or not they're a negative or a positive thought, an empowering thought or a disempowering thought, which is the second one. So the first one is to be aware of the negative thoughts as they occur, so journaling those thoughts. And the second point is labeling those thoughts into useful or non-useful thoughts. Once again, that sort of reflection is quite powerful for everybody to do on an occasional basis. And the third point, according to this author, is you need to refocus your attention on positive activity like writing, walking, calling a friend, so that you can distract yourself and refocus yourself on making a change. And the final piece of advice from the book is that you need to revalue your position from a loving and caring perspective. So you need to take control and change your thought processes or the things that you're focusing on, and you do it from a loving perspective and a caring perspective, because you're doing it to improve your life, to improve your outcomes, and not to basically be aggressive and overly negative to yourself, because what that does is it causes stress, and it then gets you into your reptilian and your flight or fight response, and you're not able to be as resourceful as you would be. So you need to be calm, you need to be loving, you need to be caring, and you need to work at rewiring your brain in a way that's going to add value not only to yourself but to also to people around you. And I guess that's it. Another wonderful book, You Are Not Your Brain by Jeffrey Schwartz. Thank you very much for joining me today on Jim's 5am Club. So rather than eat lunch, I thought I'd come out and just deliver another 5am Club so that I can click them over, get as many done as possible, so I can get as close to my goal as quickly as possible, so that I can move on to do something else at a later date. So let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and most importantly, let's take some of these points from this book and learn that we can change our way of thinking, we can change the structure of our brain based on the thoughts that we have, and that nothing is permanent. We can change, we can improve, we can get better, only if we wish to. And the more we work at it, the better we're going to get at it, and the more benefit we're going to achieve, and we're going to be in a better position to be able to help ourselves and help those around us. Anyway, thank you once again. Yassas from Jim's 5am Club, and I look forward to coming to you again from another location with another message, a message of empowerment. And let's hope that we can all live, learn, and pass it on, and make the most of the rest of the day and the rest of the days that we have. Yassas, Bilakya, and bye for now from Jim's 5am Club on Wednesday lunchtime.